So Bronny James was getting MVP chance after scoring a career-high 4 points. Yeah. Yep, that just happened. But really quickly, before we get on to the main part of this video, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers. We're trying to hit that by the end of the day. We are 44 away. We're trying to hit that by the end of the month. If we could do that, that would be absolutely incredible. But anyway, I'll see you guys, and we'll start the video. So Bronny James played last night for the Los Angeles Lakers in a game against the worst NBA team of all time, the Washington Wizards. I almost called them the Los Angeles Wizards. The Washington Wizards. And he was... It's the best way to describe Bronny James. On a positive, he set a career high. And he made a field goal. Like, I do want to say this. Like, he made a field goal. That is the biggest thing, is that he scored. And it was a nice and one. I do have to say, it was a nice and one. He went inside. They're up by like 30 or like nearly 40. Drives to the basket. Nice finish. I do have to give Bronny credit. And like, Bronny can play. And like, this was a game I've got no issue with him being in, by the way. Like, it was a blowout. They're up by this amount of points. Play him 12 minutes. This is fine. This is where you can get Bronny James in. And look, he didn't look horrific. He went 1 of 6 from the field, but he did bump his field goal percentage up to 9. Like, with the amount of shots Bronny has taken, I think if you have the amount of shots he's taken as a qualifier for like field goal percentage, he is currently shooting 10% worse than the worst season in NBA history. Like, he's shooting 9% from the field. The worst shooting season in NBA history was 21%. So, sorry, he's like 12% off. Or sorry, no, it's 19%. 19% is the lowest. So he's 10% off the worst ever in field goal percentage. But like, he's still playing. And one thing that really, really annoyed me is this. Like, I'm sorry, by the way, going nuts when Bronny James scores is fine. Like, it's a good story. Bronny's a good kid. And I really do hope Bronny does well. But this is treating him like a damn Make-A-Wish kid. Like, he's even shaking his head.
Bronny James made...
Like, I don't know if that's just a free throw routine. But, like, he's there going into his free throws. As soon as he starts to hear MVP, he starts shaking his head. He's shaking his head going to the line. Like, that is not like, I'm sorry. We've got to treat Bronny like he's a basketball player. And, like, I know people are like, oh, go mad at Stephen A. Smith saying, like, LeBron needs to stop this. Where it's like, everyone needs to start treating Bronny like he's a basketball player. We're like, oh, it's disingenuous criticizing him rather than whoever the 55th or 58th and 57th picks were. By the way, if anyone was shooting any of these players, if they were shooting the worst field goal percentage in the history of the NBA, would be sent down to the G League permanently. And that's fine. He is getting preferential treatment. That is why there is an issue with Bronny James. It is not that hasn't been okay in the G League. He is getting preferential treatment, and people are annoyed about that. That is why there's criticism for him over other players in a similar job position. And if you are ignoring that, you are being intentionally misleading to try push a narrative against certain people. Like, that is the truth. Like, I don't think there should be any criticism on Bronny James. Bronny James has just played basketball. That's the only thing he's done. He got a nice and one. It's not his fault that he's being treated like a damn Make-A-Wish kid by the crowd. Like, it's not his fault. And, like, again, I've always said this. If Bronny James wants to... If LeBron... Because let's be real. It is LeBron making the decisions. Look, I don't think anyone wants Bronny James to fail. And it's funny because I'm seeing things like... the overwhelming support is proof positive this app isn't real. People can say what they want, but in real life, many are happy for Bronny to succeed. So many of the why is Bronny in the league trolls, the devil's a liar. It's like, do you not realize, and I mean this, nobody wants Bronny James to fail. There is nobody that is criticizing Bronny in this situation. It is LeBron and the Lakers who are at fault for this whole thing. Like, he is being treated like a damn Make-A-Wish kid by this league. It is LeBron and it is the Lakers. Everyone wants Bronny to succeed because he is a good kid. Nobody wants him to fail. But the problem is that he's not good enough, so he is failing. And I'm sorry, the NBA is so good. It is so good as a league. There is so much of a gap. Bronny's a good professional basketball player. He is a pro. No question about that. There are levels to pro, though. Like, there are absolute levels to pro basketball. And Bronny James sits somewhere in the upper tier of professional basketball players. But the NBA is the tippity top, and not being an NBA player at 19 is fine. It is fine. But again, treating the kid like a Make-A-Wish kid and giving him garbage time minutes against garbage time bench of the worst team in the history of the sport up 40 minutes. Whereas he could be in the G League, he could be working, he could be grinding in there, looking to improve. And still, even against the worst of the bench of the worst, he goes 1 of 6 from the field. Again, wasn't horrifically awful, but like, the lineup he was playing against was horrifically awful. And he didn't look good. He still didn't look good. Like, he hasn't, what is he like? I'm guessing a number. He's probably like 0 of 13 from 3 or something on the year. Like, you just gotta just allow him develop. And this is a like thing for the Lakers, for LeBron. Stop using him as a mascot. And this is not a knock on Bronny. I would love nothing more than for Bronny to go right back down, to go back down to the G League, to hoop for the rest of this year, and for him to start off next season, and maybe he's not quite NBA ready to start next season, and then to hoop for the rest of this year, go hoop in Summer League, start the season on the NBA roster, see how it goes. If not, you can spend another year, mostly in the G League, and then be ready. Hopefully, maybe be ready in 2 years. Because I would rather see a situation, and I think anyone talking about this situation, if you are talking about it from a perspective of Bronny and wanting Bronny to be at the best he can be, you should want Bronny James to be playing in the G League, because the only chance for Bronny James to get to a level potentially where he's an NBA player is by doing that. Because these kids are being pushed into positions that they don't deserve to be in. But even if you get put in a position that you don't deserve to be in, there is always a chance that you can work your way. You can work your way into it. You can outwork everybody else to earn that. And that's with anything in life. If you ever get handed something that you probably don't deserve, you have to outwork everybody there. And within a couple of years, you're being thrown in the deep end, you might be better than you ever could have been. But if you're not being thrown in the deep end, if you have stuff handed for you and you're coasting, or you are working at the same rate as the people who are qualified for that job or are qualified for that position, you are never going to catch up. If you're working at the same rate, you've got to work harder. And that's the thing with Bronny, is he's got to work harder. Bryce is not a D1 guy. Like, there's a difference there. Like, he's not a D1 guy, period. Like, we're not going to see Bryce James in the NBA. Like, if Bryce James goes one and done, I will have given up on the sport of basketball, because he's not even a D1 player. Bronny would have been a 3-star recruit if his name wasn't Bronny James. I mean, a good D1 player. Man, if Bryce James' name wasn't Bryce James, he'd be playing D2 or D3 somewhere. Like, there's a big difference there. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, the MVP chants for Bronny are annoying me, because, and then I think the criticism is there, because and people are like, oh, what about these other players? These other players are not getting rotation minutes in the NBA with being as bad as Bronny. These players aren't chucking like Bronny. Bronny played 12 minutes and took 6 shots. He is shooting, per 36, he's shooting the same amount of shots as LeBron. Do you not realize that? He's literally shooting superstar amount of shots on the floor while being the worst shooting player, having the worst field goal percentage in the history of the sport of basketball. But anyway, I'll see you guys.